Hello, and a very warm welcome to the Happiness Chat. I love the शेर, वो चिराग क्या बुझे जिसे रोशन खुदा करे. My guest today is one such chirag. He is a mechanical engineer who did his bachelor's in Nairobi and master's in agriculture engineering in America. It takes just one split second to change our life forever. Such a moment for him was in 2005, but he continues to relentlessly do whatever he can in the best possible manner, and that too with a smile. It gives me great pleasure to welcome my guest, Sadru Dada, to the Happiness Chat today. A very warm welcome to you, Sadru.
Thank you, Shilpa. It is my honor, true honor, to be with you in your chat room for happiness. It gives me a lot of happiness to be in your chat room and to be with you. And I wish you good luck in your future happiness chats.
Thank you so much, Sadru. So kind of you. It's very interesting, Sadru, that for people like you and me, we have a date before and after. Uh, I like to think of it like the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere, and the equator being that particular incident in our life.
Now, the day before my accident, I was in Kabul, Afghanistan. On the 18th of March, I was helping the farmers in Afghanistan, sharing time and knowledge. I come back early morning of March 19th back to Sharjah, and that starts the day of my life that changed it all. So I will proceed and tell you of the day of my accident now.
Please, please.
The day of my accident was March 19th, 2005. I will not be able to forget that day, and it's fine because it's another date as we talk about Shilpa. In the morning, I'd got up because I had a late arrival from Kabul, and I went to serve at my community center where I was doing quite a bit of voluntary service. Both Feroza and I are very much involved in serving the community to, to better the quality of life. So in the morning, I went to the community center, helped at the community center. We had our community from Syria that have settled here in the UAE, and I was helping them do their programs and activities. All that was done, and then at about 1 o'clock, I told Firoza, let's go to Bird Dubai, Karama, and have a nice Gujarati thali. I love thalis. Firoza and I had lunch, and I told Firoza I need to go to the Karama post office to get my security clearance because the following Monday I was supposed to go to Saudi Arabia and do a project on the Red Sea. So I decided to park my car across the post office, and I told Feroza, stay in the car. I'll just go across and get my clearance, and I'll come back. So she sits in the car. I go to the pedestrian crossing, and there are 6 lanes across the road in Bird Dubai, across the Karama post office. I have the green light to cross. I've crossed the road as a pedestrian 5 lanes, and I had one more lane to cross, and I did not make it. The car in the 6th lane jumped the red light and hit me from my right side. I flew literally in the air for 15 meters, and I fell on my prone position. I was conscious, and I had my hands on the road. I was literally on the road, and I tried to pick up myself, and I said, "Oh no, I can't do that." So many passers-by came. He said, "Sadru, who can we call?" So I gave them my number, and I said, "Please call my wife Firoza. She's only 50 feet away." And they called Firoza. She came running across, and I was still on the road. And then the ambulance comes from Rashid Hospital, and then I was transported to the Rashid Hospital that day. I was unconscious, and then when they did my MRI, found out that I had a spinal cord injury and I was paralyzed from the neck down. So that's the day of that accident. And in the evening, when I came out of my anesthesia, I wake up, I'm paralyzed from the neck down, and I have 200 visitors in the public ward that I was there. And all the doctors were asking, why so many people? And I was not that awake. The people were asking Feroza, is this guy a celebrity or who is this character that they got 200 visitors right soon after the accident? They said, no, he's just a common man that knows a lot of people, that he shares knowledge and he gives us knowledge, and we are happy with him. So I was blessed to have 200 visitors in the hospital the day of my accident. So that was the day of my accident. I stayed at the Rashid Hospital for a couple of days, and I had to move because things were not, nobody was able to take care of me. And then I did my hospital shuttle rounds. I moved from Rashid Hospital to Apollo Belhole Hospital, run by the Apollo Group of India. They were managing patient. I got a room. And until my blood pressure stabilized, they could not do surgery on me to stabilize my injury, which is at the C4, C5 level, at the cervical spinal cord. Finally, after a couple of days, I went into to surgery. I had a 7-hour surgery, and Dr. Ganesan from Chennai did the operation, and he put an implant at the back of my neck. And then I thought the surgery was over. The next day, I'm talking to the doctors, the neurosurgeon, and all the doctors. I said, look, you operated on me, and within a couple of days, I'm going to walk out of this hospital. And then the doctors came by and he said, Sadru, we need to have a serious talk with you. He said, Sadru, your life has changed forever now. You've got a spinal cord injury. Your brain's intact, but your signals are not going to your limbs and your lower part of the body. He said, Sadru, so I just want to be very open with you to let you, life will not be normal for you anymore. It was very difficult to accept that fact. So we cried. It was a sad day. Anyway, I accepted what he had said, but I was always hoping that I'll recover and I'll do something. Anyway, few days went by and the doctors came to me and said, Sadru, I think we'd like you to try out a hospital in India, Apollo in New Delhi. I had nothing to lose. And he said, we recommend that you go for hyperbaric oxygen treatment. Not being a medical guy and not knowing things, I said, doctor, whatever you say, I want to try. So on a stretcher, I fly, Firoza and I fly with the doctor, with my aunt, and 6 people go to New Delhi to the Apollo Hospital. And there I met Dr. Tarun Sani, who was he is the hyperbaric oxygen guru, really a guru in hyperbaric oxygen treatment. Simply put, hyperbaric oxygen is nothing but breathing 100% oxygen in a chamber to enhance your stimulus system and neurological nerves. There also I met one of the famous physiotherapists, Dr. Tarun. So I had Dr. Tarun Sani taking care of my hyperbaric and Tarun being my chief physiotherapist. While doing physiotherapy in the morning every day with him, and I was there for close to 100 days, I said, Dr. Tarun, please schedule me in the afternoon for therapy, and he would never accept that. Now I used to be there from 9 to 12 o'clock. And he said, Sadru, I cannot take an afternoon appointment because I have a private patient that I go there and that's written in stone and I cannot deviate that. He would never tell me who he went to see, who he treated. Now we know. He was going to go, if we used to go to our Miss Shilpa. He went personally there, so I got to know where she was going, but I didn't know who she was. Anyway, I finished my treatment at Apollo. I come back. I'm not ready to come home yet. I was shuttled to a hospital called Neurospinal in Jumeirah. That gave me nightmares that the doctors didn't care. And finally, I moved to NMC Hospital in Dubai, where I stayed there for 15 months. And during the physiotherapy sessions and occupational therapy sessions, a lady comes by having the same physiotherapist, Christian and Pressy from the Philippines, treating me. And here walks in Miss Shilpa getting treatment from Christian. And we find out that she was the patient at Apollo where Dr. Tarun was giving her therapy. Anyway, I thought we had physiotherapy, occupational therapy, but I had never heard of the concept of chat therapy. So during a break, after occupational therapy, Feroza would go and prepare Kenya instant coffee for Shilpa. We'd sit and chat. And that's how I really got to know her. And that has been 15 years that I've got to know her. You know, people have mentors. I have mentors, yes. Okay, you have one in your professional life? Yes, I do. He's Ron Anderson sitting in Chicago. In my community life, I have a guy called Moyes Daya who's in Connecticut. And in my mentor, in my rehabilitation, is Miss Shilpa Mehra. So I thank you for being a mentor for me. And that's my three phases of life.
Well, Sadhru, very kind of you to call me your mentor. Believe me, I'm not mentor material, but for the last 15 years, you call me that. So I very gratefully and gracefully accept it. Thank you very much. I want to now ask you, because I have seen you doing physio in NMC, and you are one of the most hardworking patients I have ever seen. Your determination, your perseverance, your hard work is just phenomenal. So tell me, what is it that keeps you motivated?
Everything that I do, Shilpa, I'm passionate about doing it. And my kids in the USA growing up would tell me, Dad, what keeps you going? When you get up in the morning, when I was in New Jersey, and I had a commute of 1 hour 45 minutes to Manhattan, and another 4 hour and 45 minutes back, and I did that for 20 years. So 3.5 hours of my life was going to New York and coming back. He said, "What makes you get up every morning at 5:30 and you're ready to jump?" I said, "I am passionate about what I do, and I love what I do." And what I did was I thought that that was my biggest motivational factor. Was I'm passionate about things what I do. So when I take a task, when I take an assignment, I think I have to cross the I's and dot the I's and cross the T's. So I feel anything that you do, and this is the guidance that I have given my children. And when I sit down with the younger generation kids and I do some motivational talks for them, I said, even though you're going to be a janitor, be the best you can do out there. Don't clean a sink or the toilet and still you have not done the, do the best you can do. So I think having that quality that you are passionate about doing something motivates me to do a lot more. So when I get a difficult assignment, I look at it, I look at it, and if I cannot solve the problem, if I cannot communicate with my client, I'm willing to say, sorry, it's beyond me and I cannot do it. I don't take challenges which I cannot do. I have limited resources, and now I'm really physically challenged. So they call us here in the UAE, person of determination. We are PODs. So that's what keeps me going, is that I am a person of determination, and hence that keeps me going a lot more. Yeah.
I think this title, this it suits you. I would like to say a person of utmost determination. I have not seen anybody like you, Sadru. Truly hats off to you.
Thank
That
you.
brings us to your lovely wife, Firoza, who's been a pillar of strength for you. Don't you think that our family is the bedrock of support? I shudder to think what we would do without them. So please share your thoughts with us.
Sure. As I told you, she was my girlfriend for 6 years before we got married. So we all, as you know, we have our ups and downs. But we've now, a couple of months ago, we celebrated our 48th wedding anniversary. So she's been a pillar of strength. You know, when I was working in the crazy Manhattan in the USA, I traveled for 200 days a year for 20 years. So you multiply 200 days a year times 20. I was away for 4,000 days in the 20 years of my earning in the USA. So my kids were raised by one parent family. Every morning she would dress them, pack the lunch, go to each and every teacher parent meetings, and they would always ask her, so where is Sadro? Where is the father? He says he's in Paraguay, he's in Argentina, he's in Uruguay. And they would say, what the hell's happening out there? Now once Firoza was out of town in New Mexico, and I happened to be in town, so I did attend one PTA meeting for my eldest son. So when I went to the meeting there, people said, who are you? And all the teachers and nobody knew who I was. I said, I'm the parent of El Shafee, my son who is here. He said, well, finally we met the missing link there. He said, but you know, you've been an absent father. And to this date, my eldest son, he says, when I was growing up, you were not there for me. So Firoza was both the father and the mother and a pillar of strength. The two boys really gave her tough time in the sense that she helped them in all their homework. But when it came down to science, calculus and physics and all that, she would throw her hands up. And once I remember my son calling me in Asuncion, Paraguay, and he had a differential equation to solve. And there I was solving his equations in New York and all that. But I told my company, you make me travel, the telephone bills are going to be large, are going to be huge, huge, because I will call my family every day to check on them. And that what helped me. And then the day of my accident, Within a day traveling, I had both my sons who are not married, their girlfriends, all the extended family was sitting at, at the hospital in Balhol. So, family, and let me not forget friends, okay? We had dear friends that showed up every day at the hospital, and my hospital stay was 22 months at various hospitals. And that's where I realized what friends meant to me, what family meant to me. At NMC, where we met Shilpa, I was there for that duration for 15 months. So Firoza would want to come home Fridays to check on our apartment, wash her hair, shampoo her hair. And so on a Friday, when she would come home, I'd still be at NMC. But a friend would call. He said, Firoza, you go home, but we will come and sit with Sadru and we will give him company. So there was not one day in the 22 months of my hospital stay that I was alone. I always had friends and family that gave me company. And that's my story of family and friends.
Wow, truly amazing. We are very, very blessed, Sadhu. Um, I don't think we would be anywhere without all the support that we have. So God bless our families, our friends. They're just such amazing people. That brings me to this other aspect of your life, which I find most fascinating, is the ability to work in spite of the challenges, I would say the huge challenges that you have. I am sure it's a huge morale booster. So, how does that make you feel?
Keeping ourselves occupied when we are in this physically challenged work is not easy. When I had my accident, I had active projects in Alexandria, Egypt, an active project in Yanbu, which is on the Red Sea in Saudi Arabia, had active projects in Syria, and I was doing major designing, engineering of food processing plants. I love agriculture and food processing, so I was actively working on those projects. And in fact, the story is while I was still at Bell Hospital, I was doing a feasibility study for the project in Yanbu on the Red Sea, and my two sons had come in the ICU. That's where I was, and I told them to bring out the laptops. I said, "Okay, kids, I don't have any more finger movements. I have not completed a feasibility study for the project in Yanbu, so please start working on it." So I had to do a what if analysis of a project of ship unloading of grain. And I had to determine which is the best option. So being in ICU, being at Bellhole, I still had good sound mind to do a what if study of a project there. I finished the study. It was done in Excel. I did the conclusion. My kids did the Word document. That was submitted. And I still remember completing the study while I was still in ICU before even I had my surgery. And I said, this is something I will cling on to. I'll hang on to, that I will not stop doing my work and my consulting. And to this date, I didn't, when you're a consultant and when you get an accident like that, your income stops. We have to be very practical. I was not working. My income stopped, and bills have to be paid. And what my consulting kept on going on. I had clients who were so dear to me. He said, Sadru, even if you don't produce for us, we'll pay your bills for you. And we had a neighbor in our apartment from Iran. We became very close friends to him. And when he used to come and see me at NMC, and staying 15 months at NMC, the bills were mounting up. I have no medical insurance. It was cancelled after my accident because the insurance company felt that I'll be a long-term patient, so they just dropped me. But that's God's. That was okay. So this person, his name is Reza. He comes to Feroza and he says, "I know what your bills are going to be at NMC, and I'm going to go and settle it for you." And we said, "Thank you, but no, that's not what it is." But I want to talk about people who are willing to settle 100 million dirhams insurance and my hospital bills for me. Now, what else can I ask for? But that's the kind of people we met. Anyway, my consulting, my help from my clients helped me settle all the bills. Today, with God's blessing, we do not owe a penny to anybody. I pay for my therapy. I manage my expenses with what I earn. And it's enough. I do not want a penny or a dirham more than what I can. If I can meet my expenses, live a life that I'm happy, and that's what I am. That's what we do.
That's just so awesome. Sadru, I'm also reminded of this. I've said it so often, but it just remains in my mind what this neurologist had told me when I went into Apollo on the first day, that, you're very lucky that nothing has happened to your brain. And right now, while talking to you also, the fact that, our brain is okay, it's just such a big thing that, whether the arm is moving, legs are moving, fingers are moving, but if your brain is working, I mean, you are such an example of how we can continue to do work, continue to pay our bills, make a difference to the world just because it's okay over here. So I think that is like such a big blessing of God, and I'm so happy the way you see it. I never hear you talking about your problems. I've spent so many afternoons and evenings, and we've had our chats and coffees, and it's been just so amazing with you and Feroza, because we just had so much in common that it was wonderful to chat with you. And you had a smile, you had a sense of humor, you would tease, you would joke, and I would come back and tell my husband and kids that, I meet this such phenomenal couple that it became a joke in my house that, Mom, do you go for physio or then you go to meet Sadru uncle? I said, no, physio also happens. It also happens. But yes, I mean, Sadru and Piroza are a very big part, I would say, of my physiotherapy session. So that brings us to my final question to you, Sadru. What does happiness mean to you?
So here I'm going to tell you, you're going to share some of my this the saying that I got from my son last night from New York. So go ahead and please share them.
When you send them to me, Sadru, I was like, wow, because sometimes pictures say it so well. So I'm going to try and do the share right now. Yeah. Happiness is not the amount of money you have. It is the people in your life that help you to create wonderful memories. And I just so agree with you on that. Happiness, oh, this is my favorite. Happiness is not having to put the alarm for the next day. This is pure bliss. I completely love it. Happiness is pooing in your toilet after a long journey. Oh, that
Oh
is
my,
pure happiness. You completely nailed it over there. How simple is life? Wi-Fi plus food plus my bed is equal to happiness. Beautifully said, Sadhu. Summed up, you have summed it all up so well. From appreciating all the wonderful people who we have in our life to not putting an alarm. And the poo part, which is just hilarious. And the last part, which is food, Wi Fi, and your bed. I think the beauty of happiness is that it is so simple if you have all these kind of things. But what we need is the perspective to see it that way. So many times people have all these things, but they don't value it. And I am just so happy to have this happiness chat with you, Sadru. It's been wonderful, a lesson for all of us to hear about your journey and to see you out there smiling, shining, and making a difference to the world. Thank you so much for joining me in the happiness chat today.
Amen. Thank you, Shilpa. It's been again my honor to be in your happiness chat room. You'll continue to be my mentor, and I want to wish you all the happiness in continuing this noble endeavor that you've taken with this happiness chats, and that we will gather more momentum and cross more people that need this happiness. So I'll just conclude, and then and one thing that I came across this morning, Silpa, was sometimes we forgive not because we are wrong, but because staying angry robs us of happiness. So we do not need to be angry because it'll rob us of our happiness, and that's life is all about.
Absolutely. You're actually an encyclopedia of life. So much to learn from you, Sadru. It's been just so nice. And for everybody out there, until we meet again, be happy, be safe. Thank you.
Bye bye.